Mosoma. Tangativo, ongu satanga, neusama kosa. Alumuna, sisi au, yasama kosa. Amuna yeye, koma, sama kosa.
Hello, this is Type Afric's Beyond the Headlines program, and I'm your host, Petros Haile. Today we have a special guest, Mr. Obang Metho. Mr. Obang Metho is not new for the Twin Cities, but he's here for a visit for a few days, so we got a chance to invite him to our studio, and he's right here. Hello, Mr. Obang.
Thank you. Good to see you again.
Thank you. Mr. Obang is a member of Ethiopian Council for Reconciliation and Restorative Justice, and he's also the Executive Director of Solidarity Movement for New Ethiopia. We invited him today to talk about the crisis in Ethiopia. Ethiopia actually declared a state of emergency 2 days ago, and before we get to that, though, we wanted to know some background about the development to this stage, to call for the government state of emergency. So if you don't mind, I'll go directly to the question. What is the original cause for this popular unrest in Ethiopia?
Thank you, and really I would like to thank the Time for Africa for inviting me. As you say that usually this has now become more like my home whenever I come here. Being with you guys is really, it's been an honor, and I really appreciate it. And good to see you again too, Petros. So the cause of the uprising is actually it is the people seeking justice. So pretty much that this uprising it's reaching to the point. I think for most of people who don't know about Ethiopia, it is really about a right. People, demanding their right in terms of social right, economy right, political right, you named it. I think some of those people who don't really know, we could go back. The government or the regime that ruling Ethiopia has been in power for almost since 1991, yes. Almost 26 years. Okay. Since they came to 26 years, there's no one else that really ruled that country. They are not democratic. They are also people who took over the country by the bearer of the gun, by the bullet, not the ballot. These are a group who went to the bush, to kill their way to power. And so since then, the killing has never stopped. They've been doing this like almost over 40 years now, almost since they. And so most of the people need to know that Ethiopia is not a democratic government. Ethiopia don't have the kind of principle that any country or any society can live in a much more well. So for that matter, what caused the uprising to happen? Mm-hmm. So many grievances, so many injustice, so much repression, so much abuse on the people that really made the Ethiopian to do this. And I can take this back to say that, these people, when they were in the group to win and fight, in the late almost 70s. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It was a region, a part of Ethiopia. There was one particular region of Ethiopia called Tigray. There's a group, ethnic group called the Tigrayan. So a group of people that, they talk that they've been abused, they've been oppressed, they've been suppressed. So they decided to go to, resist and fight their government at that time. So they created an organization called Tigrayan Liberation Front to liberate this particular ethnic group, to liberate these regions. So they went and they fought. And again, these people were also that at the time, Eritrea was also fighting with Ethiopia at the time, the communists. So And then, in the late 90s, when the Soviet Union collapsed, the dictator government that in Ethiopia, the Derg Mengistu Mariam, who used to, also terrorizing the people, known for killing so many people, he left the country, and there was an open vacuum.
Okay.
And then this group came in and took over the country. And so when they took over the country, they did not change. They continued to rule the country as a liberation front. They didn't fight to liberate Ethiopia. They fought to liberate that one particular ethnic groups in that particular regions. But when they came in, because they were not an institution that really in a place, they came in and took over the country and been leading the country since then. So they have created a new constitution. They have created a new system, what they call ethnic federalism, in just a way that even in the constitution, it said that nation, nationality, instead of saying we the people, they say we the tribe. So these people, by being a tiny minority, they use the dividing and conquers, by dividing people by ethnicity. Like every region of Ethiopia, instead of being named as a region, as states, the states are named after the ethnic group that live in that particular region. So from that, when they first came in, people thought there would be some change. But they really didn't change. The change became about themselves. Gradually, they become more repressive to the point that really the political space non-exists. And so the thing came on in May 2005. In May 2005, there was an election in Ethiopia, where at that time they opened up a little window of opportunity. Oppositions, within 6 months before the election, they organized and they created this coalition called Ethiopian Unity Party. Canadians.
Okay.
So this group then, they were really speaking up. The government opened up a window of opportunity to debate. And there was, one thing that surprised everybody at that time in 2005. One thing that people know usually when we talk about Arab Spring, that the popular uprising, or we talk a yellow-orange uprising in Ukraine. Actually, Ethiopia started it in 2005, right before election, 5 days before election, on May 7, 2005. The government, before that, the government called on May 6th and said that, they want all their supporters to come to the big square, cross square in Ethiopia, Kai Square, Maskal Square.
Yep.
They called their supporters. And even people who are working, the government send the cars, to bring people in. So almost 50,000 people show up. And the government at that time, the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Mallas Zenawi, he called it, this is a tsunami. That, there's no way that, And then the opposition, in the last minute, say, can we do the same thing? So the old opposition did. And when they did, almost nearly 2 million people show up in Addis. It was unheard of. It was the most peaceful rallies ever in that country.
That's the day after.
Yeah, the day after that. Yeah. So there was no violence at all. There's no glass broken. People came out and they went peacefully. Then on May 15, there was an election. And then, when the election took place, Addis Ababa, the capital city of Ethiopia, where there's 24 seats in that Addis, all of them, except one, went to the opposition. And by that time, then the government realized that they are in danger. They're losing. So they call a state of almost that, government called pretty much kind of mini state of emergency kind of thing that, Mallas went on a TV and said there's no more counting. If people come to protest, we will kill. The government will use force. And then that what happened, they arrested all the opposition leaders. And then students were, more than, 30,000 students were put in jail. There were uprising at that time. 193 people were killed. From that on, things has never been stopped, really. And so what happened, the government then really become more repressive. They have, all the things which they know, like, for example, by then, all the NGOs, charity proclamation law, they pass a law that make it again the law for women right, child right, reconciliation. Any organization that function to empower people become outlaw in Ethiopia. They passed that. Where almost 26,000 NGOs who were working in Ethiopia, they lost it. They made it even to the point that if you are NGOs working in Ethiopia, 90% of your budget should be from in Ethiopia, 10% from abroad. So literally they're denying people to get money from outside. But where the Ethiopian government, almost more than 78% of their budget come from abroad, so it's a double standard. That was really what caused that. So by that they put almost all the NGOs that are working to empower the people were outlawed, as I was saying, that organizations that promoting child right, reconciliation, disabled right, woman right, human right, all of those things was outlawed. So that was in 2010. So from that on, then things went on to getting worse, where all the political dissents, the government passed a law, which is called anti-terror law, which is, journalists who are accusing government of saying that respect the law, those group were put in jail. There's some of them that would been in jail now for more than 8 years. So that was the beginning. And then they had an election in 2000, and like almost 2005, so 2015, just recently. So when they had an election, the government claimed that they won by election by 100%. So in other words, losing everything in Addis, and 10 years before, after that, now they're saying that, so pretty much their progress where they say that they won an election, 100%. So from that on, then the Ethiopian has been still becoming, almost every avenue for anyone, any society to function, the media has been blocked. There's no political space. To get a job, you have to belong to that particular party or that ethnic group. So almost everything that really makes the country function was shut down. There was no any door left. And so about 2 years ago, the Ethiopian Muslim, the government interfered because they used religion to divide people. They used ethnicity. They used the regions. They used everything that, almost like a colonizer, divide and conquer, because being a tiny ethnic group ruling the country, the only way they can survive is to divide and conquer. So when they did that, so they interfere in the Muslim community. The Muslims say that we want to choose whoever we want to preach for us, the imams. So the Muslim protest at the time. So the Muslim, when they were protesting, the demand was respect our religion, our voice. So from that on, then the Muslim, other Ethiopians did not stand with them. Recently, since 11 months ago, they want to expand the Addis Ababa capital city.
The master plan.
Yeah, the Oromo, the master plan, the Oromo ethnic group who are really majority live in Addis, they protest. They say that we cannot do this because what? If you evict the people, these people will not have any, sustainable way of living will be disrupted. So they protest, and then finally, when things get worse, the government kind of back down, and then they continue to to do it. But the students continue to demand. So it become not about respect our religion anymore, respect our right, don't evict that. It become really pretty much that a right issues, social, economic right, political right, all of those rights become. So the Ethiopian has been demanding this. Recently then in July, in the Amara region, the north, people have been silent for a long time. There's a particular area which is, Amara have been living there for a long time. It's very fertile, border to the region where the Tigray, the people who are ruling the country, they want, for the last, they've been taking that land. But when it's not wholly the land, they want to make those people, Amara, as a Tigray. And those people say, no, we are not a Tigray. We don't belong to that ethnic group. We are a different ethnic group. That caused the problem, and people rise up. Okay. So then when people rise up, then it caused, these, now where you see the Amara are now protesting. The Oromo, the major ethnic group, are protesting. So people have joined together. And so you see that these two major ethnic groups, the government was afraid of them. So this is something that which is really, it got in the last few, almost since August. It went like viral, like people were, protesting. The students, especially the major, biggest ethnic group, Oromo, their political right has been denied, their cultural right has been denied, they have been denied opportunities. They are the majority group, the same kind of social, system that they want was not giving to them. So this has become not only this Oromo, almost the whole country.
The whole country.
Become.
On that, so, and if I may ask you, I agree with you. That what started at the master plan in the Oromo region, or Walqait in the Amhara region, and Gambella, way before that, it ignites to a bigger popular movement.
Correct.
Yeah. Then instead of becoming one single issue, it becomes an issue of social justice in general.
Exactly. Okay. It becomes a social justice not only for one particular group, become the whole country. Because what happened is, we go back to that, these countries been in power for 26 years. They suppress everything. And so everybody's been oppressed. And What happened is people have been dealing with what I call seasonal. At one time, the Gambela people were dealing with by themselves. The rest of the Ethiopian were not there. The Somali by themselves, the Amara by themselves, the Oromo by themselves. So now people are coming to realize that, look, solving this sectarian, like in a way, solitary struggle will not work. And so these now people start coming together. And the government seeing that as a big danger. They're seeing it as a threat. And now this is where it's leading to where they come to realize that, we have to do something. Because right now, before they can handle it, you put the fire up there, you could put the fire down there, but now it seems to be popping up from every place.
Everywhere.
And eventually it's going to engulf the whole thing.
That will lead to my second question. Yes, you're right. Those individually isolated grievances, they become galvanized and they become a reason for the uprising. In reaction to that, the government admitted the mistakes, including the Prime Minister said, EPRDF is corrupt, including its associate parties, and it goes down from top to the bottom. Is this admission of guilt translate into a reform in Ethiopia, or it was just another?
No, this is another way to kind of, to silence. So that guilt, as if you look at it, it's actually, it is an insult to the people of Ethiopia for the Mariam to go. When they went there, the first thing they heard about it was, the property has been destroyed. The foreigner investors has been destroyed. Some building has been. He did not talk about the life has been lost. The property can be replaced. But there's so many precious Ethiopian life we lost, we'll never be able to get that back. And these are the young people. These are the Ethiopian who could be the teacher of tomorrow, the doctor of tomorrow, the engineer of tomorrow who will build Ethiopia. Even they may be the prime minister of Ethiopia who will be able to be from every ethnic group. And so the government, the Alamarim Dasalegn, did not mention that. And then to make it even so sad, one thing was really to someone who's a human rights activist like me, that's why I say that it is just an insult to the people of Ethiopia. Just about a week ago, the major of the Oromo ethnic group, their big festival, where people come out once a year, called Irecha Festival, and the Oromo religious, pretty much equivalent to that of Thanksgiving in America or in Canada. So Oromo come out to give blessing to God, to be thankful for what God has done to them in their life. So it's a combination of celebration, of dancing and singing, naming children names, and being pretty much that this is something that has always been known by these people. They come back generation, and it's one of the biggest in Africa. Sometimes 4 million people will show up, and it's so peaceful. For all of this, nothing has ever happened like this. But this time, when what happened just on October the 2nd, people went there. 2 million people show up. While they were there, the young people, this is a religion festival, not a political. But the government want to interfere into that place where they want to bring the government flag. This is not a place where you show the flag. So the young people who were there, they were protesting, and they said that we want our religious leaders alone to be on the stage, and we don't want government to interfere. So the government did not listen to the people. Having these grievances where the Oromo almost since November 2015, almost 1,000 Oromo has been killed. There's tension between them and the government. So in there, they went there to celebrate. They went there, to have a peace of mind. But while they were there on the stage, the government want to play their propaganda, and the young people rejected it. And so they tried to protest. And one of the things they protest, they didn't do anything. So the worst thing the government could do in that kind of environment is not to do anything that to make people move around. So what they did, they used the tear gas. And they used the tear gas, and people were running away. In stampede, so many people were killed.
Oh, yeah.
At that time also that there were helicopters with the gun pointing down. You have these guys on Humpty machinery, look like ISIS, covering their, with their mask, with the bandana, so pointing at the gun at the people. So these young people, when the tear gas was there, they would run, people run around, many of them fall in a ditch. So many people, we have lost almost more than 700 people. And then for Ethiopian guy, the Mariam Desalegn, to come and not even say anything about the life of those people who are done, and he's talking about the property being, it is just very painful for people. So in that case, then coming to make the point short, so for them to acknowledge this, admit of guilt, it's not good enough for us, not even close to that. They can't say that. But for us, for the people of Ethiopia, what they have done actually, they are putting the salt on the wound. This will not satisfy people. This is only for them to say that we have done, because people have been calling them for a change for the last almost 11 months. Even for the last, they have never done concrete. If they really want to say that they admit guilt, there are things to be done. Answer the demand of the people. One of the demand, the thousands of Ethiopians who are being locked up in jail, free them. Pull out your troops from the regions there where the soldiers are going to go and kill people. Stop suppressing the young people. Start intimidating. So instead of doing that, they are going hunting the young people who are speaking up in Oromia region, in Amara region, in every part of the place. They are putting more people in jail. They're even going to the jail. They're burning down the jail so that they can kill those who are activists in there. So for a government to admit this is not for the people. It's only for themselves or for their donor, financier, the Western government to say that there's something. But to the people of Ethiopia, the demand these people were asking back many years ago was respect our right. Don't take the land away from, respect our national territorial integrity. But now what they are asking now is that this government must go, because the government has lost legitimacy. People don't support them.
Thank you. Well, on that note, we only have 5 minutes, so I'm going to summarize the two questions in one. Yes, the government is admitting guilt, but is not doing anything about it.
Correct.
From what I understood. And the other one is from the opposition part, from the people who's protesting. Is there a central leadership where a government can actually talk to? And with that, the state of emergency declared by the government of Ethiopia. And their justification is like there's need to have peace and security. Buildings have been vandalized and burned and all that stuff. So if you can combine those two for me and give me 3-4 minutes. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I know. That's very good. The point that, going back to your first, that, the government, for, calling the state of the emergency, and then you're saying that, are they leadership? The people who are protesting are the young people from Ethiopia. These young people, we really give thanks to them. The young people who started it, I would say that, in the Oromia region, they put their name for them, they're called Keros. These are some young, brave Ethiopians who are willing to give their life because they deserve a better kind of government. So these also that the young people from the Amara region who come out and say that, what, those Oromo who are dying in Ethiopia, they are our brothers and sisters. The Oromo blood is our blood. The Somali blood, those are the young people who are there. But in terms of political leaders, the political space, none exists in Ethiopia. All the Ethiopians who are capable to lead the country are either in jail or they are abroad. There's a two choice that under this government. Either you be quiet and live your life silence, or if you speak up for social right, political right, you will end up being killed, or you end up being put in jail, or you go to the diaspora. So for that reason now there's no space at all. There's no leaders in Ethiopia capable, because the government made them not to be. There's no political space. The political group who are there, they are very weak because the government would not allow them. Even to some point when they were organized, when they go and rent an hotel for a meeting, they will go and shut down the owner of the hotel and put them in jail for that. This is a country where even they make an outlaw, for a printer shop, if you print out information that's saying that against the government, you can be put in jail. So they made sure that there's no political leader. So in that case, right now, it is the people who are leading.
Okay.
It's not these are almost a people leadership. So right now, there's no group who will say that, can come and talk to the government. But these people leadership, eventually the leader will evolve from within them. But with that thing now, because of lack of no having a vacuum, the government used it to get the support from the American, from the Western country to say there's no viable alternative. Viable alternative, you cannot fall from the sky. You create a viable alternative. This government made it not to have a viable alternative in Ethiopia. So also that for the Western country to say that the only group that they can work with, it is also that insult. Ethiopia have a country of almost 100 million people. We cannot run out a few single Ethiopian who are capable to lead this country. So in that case, the policy of American and the donor siding with the dictator and abandoning the people, is in the long run, it is actually not in favor of their national interest. In the long run, we're going to hurt their national interest. So in terms of that, Ethiopian back at home, they've been suppressed. There's, the leaders are in jail. But if the American care enough and willing, they should put the pressure on the Ethiopian government to release those people who are there, because those are political leaders that we can talk to. Like even to talk to the Oromo, young people who rised up and protest every day and being killed, those young people now, they don't have a leader to represent, because all the political conscious voice of reason leaders, spiritual leaders, community leaders, they are all being put in jail. There's no one there to negotiate with. And then in the Amara region, the same thing. People who are politically conscious are being put in jail. So there's nobody there really to be there to speak with, because the government did that. So that is one thing. Coming back to the next point, which you're saying that the government called that a state of emergency because there's no peace and stability. The peace and security, it never exists in Ethiopia to the people of Ethiopia.
To begin with.
To begin with.
Okay, okay.
So right now, when they're speaking like that, the people who are the peace they are talking about, the threat they are talking about, not about the Ethiopian people. They are talking about themselves. They realize now that this is the 11th hour. The TPLF, like any other group before them, the like autocratic regime who did not listen to their people, now the time is coming to come and get them, or even to the point that they will be, they overthrow. For that reason, that's why they say there's no peace and security. There's never been peace and security for the Ethiopian, but there's always peace and security for the ruling group and their elite. Now they realize that they're losing. So when they're calling the state of emergency, they are not calling the state of emergency for the well-being of the Ethiopian. They are calling the state of emergency for themselves. Because the Ethiopian people, when you call a state of emergency, when a destruction happens, when people's life is in danger, when people have no opportunity, or when people, as a people, something is threat to their life. Ethiopian people, the government has been threat to them. They've been denied opportunity. They've been killed. They've been persecuted. They've been tortured. They've been put in jail. So the Ethiopian people has already called a state of emergency on the government, but the government did not listen. Now the government have come to the point that people are rising up. They are burning down their property, because for the last 23 years or 25 years, one of the things you hear about Ethiopia is an example of Africa for stability, economic growth, double digit. You don't hear that anymore, because what happens is human being is not an animal that you give them food to eat, thinking that there will be silence. When you give people, human being to eat, there's just a thing that a God-giving right, that right to live, right to live your life with happiness. Because Ethiopian did not have that. This illusion of putting a building on the road, in Addis, building road with the money that which is being begged by American and using that as a stability in Ethiopia, it did not work. That's why the Ethiopians are now rejecting it. Because keeping in mind, now there's more than a couple of factories which has been destroyed. I am against that. But why do you think it's destroyed? Because people don't see that belong to them. These belong to certain group of people. So that's what I mean, that leave alone a human being. You cannot throw a meat to a dog and expecting that the rest of the dog will be silenced. This is a common sense. The Ethiopian government, it was the regime, the ethnic apartheid regime, which is the TPLF ruling, they evict the people from the land, and they give that land to their crony, who are from their own group, or they give it to the foreigner investor, like the Indian and the Chinese and other group. So now people are seeing that, look, you took me away from my land, you bring somebody else to build this thing, I will destroy it. And this is why now people are destroying things. And the government come to realize that all the lie they have, the stability in Ethiopia, gone. Double-digit economy, gone. Instability, peace, gone. So all of this, they realize now that, look, the rooster's coming back to the chicken. So the chicken and rooster coming back home. So in other words, you harvest what you grow.
Okay.
This government is to make it panelize.
Yeah.
They have grown the ethnicity resentment. They have grown hatred. They have grown, almost this, and now it's coming back to them. So when they see the dangers, the light is coming to hit them, what do they say? Oh, state of emergency. For one reason, number one, to kill more people maybe. Number two, to kind of think that we may regroup so that when things go, we can be able to run out. But to us, what I say to the people who are listening to the Ethiopian people.
Okay. Thank you, Obang. So you're saying that it's to protect themselves from the people rather than bring law and order to the nation.
Law and order to themselves, not the people of Ethiopia. But to that, I want to pass on to the people Ethiopian who are listening that, this is a people movement. And no one can be able to take that away from you. So the thing is, Ethiopia belongs to all of us. So the solution to the problem of Ethiopia, we cannot expect it from America, from anybody else. It is only us.
Okay.
We are one people from that country, and then we are one family, whether we like it or not. The blood that goes through our veins, we cannot filter it and see it belongs to Romo, to Amara, to Tigray, to the Muslim, to the Adia, to anybody else. That is the blood of the Ethiopian people. We are one people. We were one for many years, and we will always be one forward. So the only thing now for us, those who are fighting back, or those who are struggling back at home, stand together as one, document anything that's going on at home, don't go after one another, don't destroy property, because at the end of the day, the regime will go, the property will remain, the land will be on, ours, Ethiopia will live on forever. Only if we see love, because it's through love and unity and respect that we can be able to live. Destruction will not get us anywhere, but love will bring us unity.
Thank you, Obang Metho. Obang Metho is Ethiopian Council for Reconciliation and Restorative Justice member, and he's Executive Director for Solidarity Movement for New Ethiopia. And again, I would like to thank you for this short notice to come to the studio and give us this opportunity. Thank you, Obang.
Thank you for inviting me, and I appreciate all of you guys, and thank you. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. We'll see you soon.
Okay,
Thanks.
take care. Thank you.
On that note, we end today's program of Beyond the Headlines. We'll see you next week with a different program. Until then, have a nice one. Thank you.
Mama ku, mama sa, mama ku sa, mama ku, mama sa, mama ku sa, mama ku, mama sa, mama ku sa, mama ku, mama sa, mama ku sa. Sumanya. Mosoma. Tangativo, ombu satanga, neusama kosa. Alumuna, sisi au, yasama kosa. Amuna yeye, koma, sama kosa.